Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social, in association with Empire Fight Store, Forged Irish Stout. We're here, Eddie Hearn, live from Las Vegas. How are we doing, mate?
Very well, thank you. I'm enjoying the memorabilia there.
Yeah, there's a few bits. There's a few good bits.
Yeah.
Nigel Benn Eubank.
One of our posters at the bottom there, Canelo Triple G3.
Canelo Triple G, Fury White, the GOAT, and then me and Tyson at the top.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Fine. Let's collect a few bits. Look, down to business. This weekend, Richardson Hitchins, a chance to progress his career, final eliminator for a world title. Excited for this week. It's a good card in Vegas.
It's a really good card. You know, obviously, probably one of our slightly smaller cards, I guess, globally. But I think, you know, a brilliant night of action, top to bottom. I mean, going through it, you know, Mark Castro, who's one of our leading US stars, goes for his first championship. You know, you've seen similar people from his age group, if you like, and US boxing, Diego Pacheco, Ray Ford, Amo Williams. These guys coming good now, so it's a big night for him. Sky Nicholson in a great fight, #1 against #2 in the WBC for the World Championship. Galauya Fai in a big step up. It's going to be a really exciting fight between two punchers as he looks to fight for a world title in 2024. Diego Pacheco, we just mentioned there, you know, I think the future at 168 pound. And the main event, Hitchins against Lemos, is a final eliminator for the IBF world title. That main event and the co-main event, 81-0, the records between everyone. So I think it's going to be a really good night of boxing. And Hitchins, you know, I think he's of the same kind of mold as the Haneys and the Shakur Stevens, and, you know, that from the same team, really, and just needs to make a statement. Everyone knows how good he is, but I'd like to see him try and, you know, if he can get Lemos out of there in style, I think it'd be a major statement.
He took a tiny bit of criticism, I feel, after his performance against Cepeda because he chose to box and move. Is this the kind of fight, though, where he has to make a statement, headlining in America, to really kick him on?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's hard to say to a fighter, go in there and mix it up and trade, and, you know, when they're winning every round, and you know, the art of boxing is hit and don't get hit. So, but if you want to grab everyone's attention, if you want to become a star, you have to be exciting. And Richardson has the ability to do it. I think in this fight, Lemos will come looking for him. He's a big puncher. He's 29-0. Yeah. So if he can stop him and make a statement, it will just help. You know, it will just help him, because when you're as good as he is, people will always be looking for an excuse not to fight you. And if you can, you know, if you can start creating some noise yourself through your performances, it's going to go a long way.
You've Sky Nicholson as well, bidding to become world champion. If she manages to get this weekend, not looking past, she's always been calling out the likes of Amanda Serrano and the champions of that ilk. Do you think big things for her if she gets past this weekend?
Yeah, you know, if you get a piece of the championship in the division, you've got to look at the other champions, and there's only one champion in the featherweight division, and that's Amanda Serrano. So every young fighter should be looking to fight the best in the division. That's what she wanted to do. Serrano vacated the belt. And then it was 1v2, you know, Mahfoud's a former world champion. She's 14-1, just one defeat on her record, which was to Serrano in a very competitive fight. So it's a tough fight. It's a really interesting fight. You know, I know Sky has the credentials, but Mahfoud's been in those tougher fights probably in throughout her career. And I think it's going to be very competitive.
Let's jump into it. We've got to touch on it. TalkSport and all that. I know you've been on drive, probably sick of talking about it, but I've not spoke to you yet. So we'll start with Ben. So the title for their video just says, Eddie, call me. Will you be calling Ben Shalom at any point?
Not really. I mean, I don't. Frank speaks to him all the time. You know, they speak on text. I mean, you know, I'm really used these days to just be, you know, pushed out in front of you guys as the face and the spokesman. And, you know, a lot of these conversations at that kind of level, at Ben's level, Frank will take care of anyway. So they speak all the time. So a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, you know. Yeah, I'll speak to them. We've had 5 fights that have been ordered between Matchroom and Sky, and they've pulled out of every single one of them. So I think the proof is in the pudding. We have no problem entering any discussion to make a fight, but, you know, you guys have to understand it's very frustrating when a fight gets ordered and we try to open negotiations for the fight, and there's no interest, and they just pull them out. And you see it now. They really don't want to acknowledge, and it's not just Boxer, it's Sky as well. They don't want to acknowledge that we exist or who our fighters are. You know, you see for years and years when we were on Sky, I used to argue with the guys on the Sky Sports News team. Why are you putting out stories on Frank Warren's show and Frank Warren's fighters? And because we're an independent news outlet and we have to report on all boxing. Okay. When I left, that just stopped immediately. And it's like they don't actually exist. So much so that when Chev Clark got involved on Saturday night, they just pulled the feed and said, oh my God, it's like Matchroom fighter alert, get away. So like Chev Clark has been mandated to fight Isaac Chamberlain. And all they're talking about is Isaac Chamberlain against Vidal Riley. You have to fight, or you got to vacate the belt. I like what Vidal Riley's saying, which is, hey, mate, Isaac, you got Chev mandated, fight him, and then I'll fight the winner. Thank you very much. Yeah. And, you know, Chev can beat them all. So always open to conversations for any fight. But it's very disheartening when, as I said, 5 fights have been ordered and they've pulled out of every one of them. So
is this more for you, the speed of which these things happen? Because when a fight gets ordered, for instance, I don't want to happen about it's too much of other things to talk about, but when it gets ordered, it starts with, look, fight's been ordered, let's see what happens. Then it goes to, we're a week now, we've heard nothing. And then it goes to, are you going to pull out of this fight or not? Is it more the fact that it's not happening at the start very quickly if they knew they were...
Absolutely. You know, and the majority of those 5, I think 3 or 4, they've pulled out either on the day of the purse bid or the day before the purse bid, or those kind of timings, when there's been conversations and negotiations for between a month and 2 months. Adam Azim, Dalton Smith, the perfect example. That fight was ordered, what, 6-7 weeks ago? And they were never taking the fight. I mean, they've ended up playing it badly and giving Adam Azim a load of stick by doing that. What you should just say when that fight gets ordered is, we're not going to take that fight. So let's announce now that we're not. You get a little bit of stick initially, but you have to, you know, understanding how to guide a fighter's career and having their back in terms of their reputation and their profile is really important. And I feel like Fraser Clark had a horrible time when they pulled him out. You know, he messaged me and, you know, he was really struggling with the stick he was getting, and he didn't deserve it because he actually wanted the fight. And now Azim's getting loads of stick. It's not really his fault. He would have wanted the fight as well. It's just how you play it. It's just a little bit of inexperience, really. But I think, as I said, I think that, you know, the best line that Ben came out with was, why would I cash Adam Azim out? When you talk about cashing a fighter out, basically that means I'm getting him a big payday to get beat. And that says everything you need to know. They can't beat Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith's a world-class fighter. And Adam Azim at the moment is a domestic level fighter. And by the way, I don't think what their decision is the worst decision in the world. But when you're out there saying this kid's world-class, he should fight Keyshawn Davis at Wembley, you know, Teofimo Lopez, we're coming. And like, so what? And then Dalton Smith gets ordered and you pull out of that situation. It doesn't really match with the narrative.
Let's move on. What's Dalton Smith going to do next then? Obviously, that European title's become vacant. Is he going to obviously show
I mean, you could jump in quickly and win the European title. You know, the attraction was 1, the European title, and 2, a big fight with Adam Azim. Now Adam Azim's vacated the title. Do we want to fight, you know, a lesser name for the belt? Maybe, but I would like to see Dalton Smith take a world level name. You know, he's just beaten Zepeda, who's a top 10, top 15 guy. Let's keep pushing on and try and push for that mandatory position.
Regis Progress, someone like
Great
that.
Fight. Yeah, huge fight. I mean, you know, with all due respect to Adam Azim, the levels between Adam Azim and Regis Prograis are, you know, a huge. That's a dangerous fight. And Dalton is there or thereabouts. And the next move is going to be exciting. You know, I would like to take him to America. You know, I think a lot of the attributes that we have as a promotional company is to allow fighters to fight internationally and to get that global exposure, particularly in America. You've seen it with Sonny Edwards. You know, you've seen it now. Galauya fight here this week. A load of our other fighters, Janae Boston even recently, you know, boxed on a big card. So Dalton could fight in America next, but also I want to continue the momentum in Sheffield. You know, we had a great crowd last time. Everyone's talking about Dalton Smith at the moment, you know, half of it through the failed fight with Adam Azim, but they're still talking about him, and I'd like to build on that.
100%. Conor Benn, I know you can't say for much about legal reasons. I wanted to know, because of everything that's gone on, will you still pursue him fighting outside of the UK while things are happening, or is it a case of
everything's set up ready to go for Conor? You know, we want to fight in the UK. There's some massive fights to be made. Despite everybody's opinions and stories, there's been no comment from Conor or the board or UCAD yet. So let's wait and see when that comes. But in the meantime, all we can do is just get things lined up, prepared, ready to go. We know that when Conor Benn is ready and allowed to fight in the UK, he will be in a massive stadium fight. And if not, he'll fight internationally. But we would love to be able to bring him home after 2 fights in the States.
How long do you wait though? So you got Manny Pacquiao out there in Saudi Arabia. To put that fight on. How long?
I mean, we can wait as long as we need to, but it's just for Conor Benn. It's almost 2 years now since the test. And I've never known anything like it. You've seen other fighters recently, high-profile fighters who have tested positive 3 months, 4 months later. They're cleared by an organisation and they're back fighting. No one's really saying anything. Yet Conor Benn is a daily thing. He hasn't played it great at times because he's wanted to deal with a lot of it himself and protest his innocence because he believes in that. But it's frustrating, the reaction of this versus other instances, but we are where we are, and hopefully it can come to a close soon.
Anthony Joshua's comments on retirement, sort of outlining, the end kind of thing. It was strange to hear him talk about it when he's in such a good run of form, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, I think that's the question, isn't it? They always get asked, how long do you have left? How long do you want to keep going? And the answer is, at the moment, I think he's in the form of his life. I think he's mentally and physically the best he's ever been. But Father Time will catch up with you at some point. No signs of that yet on any level, despite Thomas Hauser calling for that 3 years ago. He's the best fighter he's ever been at this stage. And whilst you're loving what you do, which he does, whilst you're physically able, which he is, whilst you're mentally in a great place, which he is, you carry on going. But, if I said to AJ right now, he wants to fight everybody, by the way. Like, he gets really excited about fighting the best. So the winner of Fury Usyk, yes, there's one. The loser of Fury Usyk, there's two. Zhang, Wilder, he definitely wants to fight. Parker, he likes the idea of fighting again at some point. Hrgovic, or Dubois has a couple of wins. So there's between 5 and 7 fights probably for him out there.
Yeah.
And 2 years is probably 5 or 6 fights, So I think it's impossible to put a time frame on it, but I'm just loving seeing him so happy, loving seeing him fire on all cylinders, and excited for the future. I think the best is yet to come.
100%. Well, look, we look forward to seeing him back in the ring, and it's a good show this Saturday in Las Vegas. So I wish you well over there, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks for giving us your time.
Mate. Cheers, Matt.